Yeah, it's a very sort of quick changeover as well.
To say the least. And having to get to grips with everything straight away must be quite...
Yes.
Politics can be a force for good, whether you voted Labour or not. In fact, especially if you did not, I say to you directly, my government will serve you.
I think it's absolutely shocking that someone who once called for the abolition of the monarchy is now bowing to the king. Ricky Gervais didn't hold back when he called out Keir Starmer's apparent U-turn on royal politics. The Labour leader's journey from Republican critic to royal supporter has raised serious questions about political authenticity. As Gervais pointed out, how can voters trust someone who seems to change core beliefs whenever it's politically convenient? This story of calculated image shifts goes far beyond simple royal protocol. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favour. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now, back to the video.
I hold my hands up. I am. So I try and not lecture people. I remember people were going, "How dare he say those things to these most wonderful people in the world, these most privileged, handsome, lovely, multi-millionaires." And by the last one, people were going, "Give it to them. We're sick of them." I mean, in the news now, with these parties that the government, the people in charge were breaking the rules, having these parties in their lovely gardens. I think I've been naive.
Has anyone else noticed how quickly Keir Starmer changes his colours when it suits him politically? The Labour leader's recent royal charade has been nothing short of spectacular. This is a man who has spent years positioning himself as a progressive voice within a party with strong Republican undercurrents, only to perform a complete about-face when the winds of electoral advantage shifted. The transformation has been particularly evident in Starmer's recent interactions with King Charles. During a live television appearance, viewers witnessed an awkward display as Starmer appeared to disregard royal protocol while simultaneously attempting to curry favour with His Majesty. This cringeworthy performance revealed the tensions inherent in Starmer's position, trying to maintain his credibility with left-wing Labour supporters, while frantically signalling his newfound monarchist credentials to the broader electorate. What makes this spectacle even more transparent is how Starmer and his deputy Angela Rayner have suddenly become fixtures at high-profile royal events. The carefully orchestrated photo opportunities with King Charles generated extensive media coverage.
Just everything's up in the air. You can't look forward to anything. I can't put gigs in. I finished my tour just in the nick of time. Apart from the pandemic and the devastation and the deaths and the strain on the health service and people losing their livelihoods and that. The worst thing is the in charge.
Sir Keir Starmer, Your Majesty.
Your Majesty.
You must be utterly exhausted and nearly on your knees.
Not actually.
Quite a group.
Precisely as intended, these choreographed appearances stand in stark contrast to their previous critical stances on the monarchy, raising serious questions about their authenticity. Are we witnessing genuine evolution in their thinking, or merely calculated political theatre? The British public's reaction to this royal pivot has been decidedly mixed. While some voters are willing to extend the benefit of the doubt, viewing it as a pragmatic adjustment to political realities, others see through the facade. For many, Starmer's royal rebrand epitomises a troubling pattern of opportunism that has characterised his leadership, saying whatever is necessary to whichever audience he's addressing at the moment. This episode reveals something deeply concerning about Starmer's approach to leadership. When principles become flexible instruments to be deployed or abandoned based on polling data, what exactly can voters trust? The monarchy manoeuvres aren't isolated incidents, but part of a broader pattern of political shapeshifting that has left supporters across the spectrum questioning what, if anything, Starmer truly believes. In a media landscape dominated by spin and carefully crafted messaging, comedians have emerged as unlikely champions of truth. Ricky Gervais, known for his unfiltered approach to comedy, has proven himself particularly adept at stripping away the veneer of political performance. His recent takedown of Keir Starmer strikes at something far deeper than just another celebrity politician spat. It touches the raw nerve of public disillusionment with leadership that seems increasingly performative rather than principled. Gervais has built his career on being the court jester who dares to call out the emperor's new clothes. From his notorious Golden Globes hosting gigs, where he skewered Hollywood's elite, to his social media commentary that punctures political bubbles, Gervais has consistently positioned himself as the uncomfortable truth-teller in rooms full of pretense. This established reputation gives his criticism of Starmer a weight that transcends typical political commentary. What makes Gervais particularly effective is his complete disinterest in the approval of the political establishment. Unlike political commentators who must maintain access to power, Gervais speaks with the liberty of someone who has nothing to gain from political favour. His social media salvos at Starmer cut straight to the question many voters are asking. How does someone ascend to leadership without demonstrating consistent principles along the way? The comedian's straightforward communication style stands in stark contrast to the carefully choreographed positioning of Starmer's team. While Labour's communications department crafts messages designed to appeal to multiple demographics simultaneously, Gervais simply says what many are thinking, that there's something fundamentally dishonest about a politician who seems to recalibrate his principles based on opinion polling. The overwhelming public response to Gervais' comments reveals a population hungry for authenticity in public life. His criticism has sparked conversations across traditional political divides, uniting people who might disagree on policy, but share a frustration with leaders who appear to treat principles as tactical assets rather than core beliefs. In comment sections and social media responses, ordinary citizens express relief that someone with a platform is articulating their growing suspicion that politics has become more performance than substance. Gervais' critique resonates precisely because it's not ideological. It's about character. At a time when trust in institutions is plummeting, his focus on basic questions of integrity speaks to voters across the spectrum, who just want leaders they can believe, even when they disagree with them. What's at stake here is far more significant than a single awkward exchange between Starmer and the king. This growing divide between political performance and genuine conviction represents a fundamental crisis in British democracy. Experts increasingly note that authenticity has become the currency voters crave most. Consistency between what leaders say and do forms the bedrock of public trust. Yet in this era of focus group speeches and carefully constructed personas, we find ourselves trapped in a political theatre where conviction takes a backseat to electability. This explains why Gervais strikes such a nerve when he calls out these contradictions. In British culture especially, comedy plays a unique role in holding power accountable, forcing uncomfortable truths into public discourse when traditional channels fail. The uncomfortable reality is that we've created a system where changing positions is rewarded more than standing firm on principle. Until voters demand authentic leadership rather than polished performances, figures like Gervais will remain our reluctant political conscience, exposing the contradiction between what our leaders claim to believe and how they actually behave when the cameras are rolling.